Hazbin Hotel is one of those shows where you can walk in with the questions that you have and you're ready to get them answered, and you walk out with even more questions. Season finale, besides it being very awesome eye candy with all the cool transformations and everything, happens to also bring up a lot of mysteries and questions. By the time we get really close and we think that we solved the mystery, or, are about 80% of the way there, more mystery thrown into it. There's more evidence that shifts everything to a different direction. But as always, guys, I am RM, and today, let's talk about Hazbin Hotel, episodes 7 and 8. So, here's a spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't watched it. But let's continue on the show otherwise. Overall, I think this show had a very banger of an ending. Sure, the first 4 episodes, it was kind of rocky, but I think after episode 4, everything got really good. Really good to see the show recover and actually get to stretch and show a lot more potential and capitalize on said potential that it was trying to display earlier on in the season. Starting off, though, in episode 7, I will say, though, what I really enjoy about how episode 7 works is I think it's just like episode 5, where it does a really good job at progressing the plot and making a smoother transition when it comes to the next episode. Because from episode 5 to episode 6, the transition between those 2 episodes felt very nice and smooth, since we had one action tie into the other one. In this case, it involved Charlie involved Lucifer to talk to Charlie, and they mend up their relationship enough where Lucifer understood why Charlie wanted to go to heaven. Hence, Lucifer was able to get Charlie into heaven. The actions of episode 6 could occur, where she's in heaven, she goes to the court, she talks to the angels, and then things don't quite work, which then allows episode 7 to happen. I think, if anything, the tying between episode 6 and 7 felt very nice and smooth. Overall, from episodes 5 to 8, it felt nice and smooth as we're going from one plot to the next when it comes to the actions that the characters are taking. So overall, I felt like it was very smooth. Sure, the journey was really fast-paced, but at least it was a smoother pace compared to what it could have been. It could have been very janky, but overall, I think the smoothness of the show really makes it more interesting. The next thing also, too, I will say, too, the characters. This show is just amazing at releasing characters, and you just love them right out of the gate. Like Rosie. Rosie's just so much fun. She just has so much style and class to her. She's like Alistair. She just has that spunk to her that just makes her feel awesome to watch. She just has that attitude. She carries herself in a different way than everyone else, too. Not to mention, too, she has her own quirks. And also the other thing, too, I liked about Rosie, too, because of her personality, she was also able to help us see Charlie actually go through some character development. Overall, I think Charlie had a very good character development as a whole. Because the thing is that Rosie was able to teach Charlie how to become a better leader. Because we saw in the beginning of the season, Charlie was not a good leader. She sucked. She could barely get a sinner to do something for her if she wanted to. Despite being princess and being one of the more powerful beings in the realm of hell, she couldn't do anything. But seeing her and having Rosie help her learn how to, rally a cannibal army in order to help defend the hotel, I think was a good start. I think, if anything, that's a good way to show that Charlie is starting to get control and be better when it comes to using her power to get what she needs and use it to be good inherently, right? She uses her powers to get what she wants, and in this case, it's to help everyone else and help her people. It's good, but at the same time, they didn't make her perfect right away, which I think was very good. It shows the struggle and the growth when it comes to becoming better. The other thing, too, I think was really well handled in this episode was when Rosie talked to Charlie when it came to her and her relationship with Vaggie. Because it seemed like they were on the rocks when it came to, Charlie's completely upset for completely justifiable reasons. Having a huge secret that, your girlfriend has murdered a lot of your people in the past and hasn't told you about it in 3 years is crazy. Sure, she's changed, but to Charlie, that's a bit of a shock. And seeing her talk to Rosie, and Rosie help her understand that Maggie is also someone who is maybe there to redeem herself, I think really changes the perspective and helps Charlie remind herself why she's there and why she's running the hotel. So overall, I think Rosie was a perfect character and allowed a lot of character growth to happen to Charlie. But overall, I think this episode was really good. The only thing I could think of that I might have wanted more of was, this B plot, which involved, Vaggie going to Carmilla Carmine's hideout, or at least her place, and asking for weapons in that regard and talking to her. It's a shame that we didn't get to learn more about Carmilla Carmine, because she's a very cool character. She looks pretty awesome. The thing is that with the show, you only get 8 episodes, and each episode is only like 22 minutes long each, you don't have much time to work with, so it's understandable why we couldn't learn more. When it comes to episode 8, I think episode 8 was just even better. Episode 8, if I could describe it, was eye candy. Because the thing with episode 7 and 8, the music, I think the music was good. It wasn't they weren't like bangers like in episodes 5, 4, 5. But like the thing is that that's okay. I think the music emphasized, I think the music helped make things more entertaining and interesting as a whole. Rather than having action and music like the courtroom scene in episode 6, I think it was great that the music was separate than the action. Just straight up action. Because without the music there, it made the battle feel a lot more intense. Like, oh, who's gonna live? Who's gonna die, right? You're just there and you're questioning what's gonna happen, right? You're on edge and it's perfect. I think it's wonderful to see that occur. Not to mention, too, seeing the characters fight. Seeing the characters get to stretch out and use their power levels that you kind of get the hints at throughout the episodes is very awesome. We can sell a huge power difference between, for example, Adam and Alistair. Sure, Alistair's really strong and he was able to stop quite a lot of angels, but here's the thing. When he went to get Adam, absolutely got destroyed. Like, sure, actually, Alistair did hold up a good fight against Adam. Not to mention, too, it did seem like he was refraining for some reason, like he couldn't use all of his power, like he's actually capped for some reason. But we can talk about that later in maybe a theory episode. Crazy to see Adam's power level, but it makes sense. Adam is literally the oldest guy, and he's also been an angel for thousands of years, so he's probably been able to hone and learn more when it comes to using his power and skills, because he has been probably killing sinners for a very long time now. Understandable to see his power level. Not to mention, too, him and Lute seem to be the ones that really caused trouble when it came to the Hazbin crew, because they were the ones that were actually doing a lot of the damage, especially property damage. Adam caused all of the property damage compared to everyone else, and hence the whole rebuild of the hotel occurred. But overall, I think it was kind of cool to see them give mercy as a whole. Like, for example, Lute, having Vaggie, when Vaggie fights Lute, Lute challenges. She basically could have get killed, but Vaggie decides to let her live, because having Lute be alive and have the shame that knowing Vaggie was the reason why she's alive is definitely more embarrassing and is a fate worse than death. I think that was a perfect tone between her and Lute, and I think overall as a whole, I think we got to see some growth in Vaggie, which I think is very important, because overall, Vaggie seemed to be more of a one-dimensional character in the beginning of the show, where she's protective, right? She's that protective girlfriend. Yeah, that occurs. Is there anything else to her? I don't know. That was it. To get to see more about her, learning that she was an exorcist, she wants to change her ways, how she can empathize with people. She's kind of like Charlie. She's able to see some more good into the people who are bad and giving second chances like her girlfriend, which is actually, I think, a very good trait to have. And overall, I'll be looking more forward to seeing Vaggie grow as a character. But when it comes to the, Adam and Lucifer, so the idea is that when we see the Adam and Lucifer, right, they're fighting and everything like that, I think it was perfect, the power level between Lucifer and Adam, because that was just insane. Lucifer comes in, besides being funny, he completely dicks around. He's there, and he looks like he's just having fun, and he absolutely just bodies Adam, and then when he gets serious, would have killed Adam easily if it wasn't for Charlie. I think that was a good detail, that letting him actually talk and speak. I feel like when Adam talked at the end before he was shanked by Nifty, which huge shocker to me personally, but when he talks, I think that was a perfect opportunity to have the understanding and the frustration of why Adam has such a complex, right? Like, he sounds like he has a bit of a superior complex, how the reason why he's such an asshat to everyone is because he was promised a whole bunch of things. It makes sense. This guy was literally promised to be a king of the whole earth as a whole, right? He's supposed to have this cool utopia. Everything was supposed to be under his control, right? Like, God had everything set up for him. And then just to have Lucifer come in and just ruin everything, I could see why Adam was upset, and at least understand. Sure, is it right for him to be upset? Not exactly. But is there a reason behind it? Yes, and the reason's actually legitimate, which is what I like about the character Adam. Sure, he's dead, so we don't get any more cool, jokes, or, cool musical notes by him. But who knows? Maybe he might be like Serpentius and actually respawn, but not instead of heaven, it might be in hell. But that's a theory for another time. But overall, though, I think the show is pretty good. The only thing I could think of in episode 8 that may kind of brushed me slightly the wrong way, and I had to think about it, was Serpentius' death. Because overall, I think Serpentius was carefully, and I feel like was very well created. He was very consistent. He felt like he had some depth to him, right? Serpentius is kind of like this Dr. Doofenshmirtz character to me. He's very funny. He's very comical. However, he's very consistent at what he does. Besides being a genius inventor, he's also very socially anxious, which is kind of funny, especially in episode 6. I feel like it was a very big stepping point where Serpentius, before he charges in the battle, was able to say, I love you, Cherry Bomb, and move on. I think that was perfect growth for Serpentius. I think that was a very cool moment, and that was really awesome to kind of see him, go for a blitzkrieg, one last kamikaze attack, to show everyone he loves and show, hey, I'm fighting for what is right. I believe in. However, the only part I didn't like was that Adam just Thanos snapped his fingers and Serpentius just disappeared. Yeah, he just died instantly in a heartbeat. Like, it was funny, but like at the same time, I was like, bro, I was kind of hoping for like an extra 10 seconds where Serpentius actually got one attack off. He managed to hit Adam, and I was like, oh wow, that was something. And then obliterated him, but I know animation is quite expensive, especially when you have 24 frames per second, and each frame is also paid, so understandable why they probably didn't do that. But at the same time too, Serpentius is comical, and seeing him disappear in one frame is kind of funny, and it also kind of ties in with the fact that he is also very goofy, so it would make sense he has a goofy ending. I could see why and understand why earlier when I first watched it. I was kind of like, that made me kind of feel a little stiff towards it. However, it's okay since Serpentius is back. That's a huge plot twist, if anything. If anything, seeing the plot twist that Serpentius came back really opens up a lot of doors for him. Makes this episode very fun and very entertaining. Like I said earlier, so many more questions to ask, which brings me to the end of this episode, because the thing is there's so much to talk about, but I feel like there's other episodes I can make about this. There's a lot of theories to talk about, which, if I'm not slow, I might actually be able to create more. So let me guys know how you feel about this overall, the new episodes. Did you like it? Do you have any theories you want me to cover? Is there something I missed? Let me guys know. And also while you're down there, like and subscribe. And as always guys, stay awesome and be awesome.